Aloha nerds, I'm TheSalawag, and before I get to my gut reaction, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Faith Food Fridays. I work at a popular retail store, and we donate to Faith Food Fridays in Vallejo, California. This is an extension of the church. Benjamin Buggs is a minister who runs Faith Food Fridays, and this organization essentially provides food to the homeless and to struggling families. I volunteer at least once a month, at least once or twice a month, and a good amount of the volunteers are veterans. So they already served the country and they're still serving their community. It's a little bit of work, you're filling up boxes, giving food to people, and there's a lot of struggling families out there. Some days you have more people coming than others. And this past time, there's just a lot of people needing food, and it's the one wonderful thing about volunteering is seeing the looks on these people's faces when you can tell some of them are just kind of in a bad place or just having in a rough patch, and seeing them just be grateful to have food, and you're just like, whew, like, hey, I helped this person have a good day. There's a lot of problems in this world, but some are right in front of you, and you can totally do something about it if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to volunteer, just donate if you can. If you can. It doesn't have to be Faith Food Fridays. If there's something close to you, I think you should go out there and do it. Because the world is a bleak place, and it needs more heroes. Real heroes, people on the ground. Your superpower is not your strength. It's your kindness. Anyway, I just really enjoyed that experience. It kind of inspired me a lot. And the people that do it inspire me, and I'm grateful to have the experience of doing it. So, anyway, thank you for letting me talk to you with this little blurb. We're going to get to my gut reaction now. Aloha nerds, and welcome back to another episode of the Salawag's Why It's Great Gut Reaction, where I watch things and react from the gut. And wow, so last night I finally decided to watch A Star Is Born, Bradley Cooper's directorial debut. I forgot about that. Rocket Raccoon directed this movie and is starring in it. And damn, what an amazing movie! Pretty damn good. I understand the hype now. There's definitely, even without seeing the movie, that song "Shallow" is so good that it's something that I couldn't help listening to and like feeling after the movie came out as well. Where I was just like, whoa, that's great. And I'm sure the movie's great because that song is great. And it's a really solid movie. It's interesting how it kind of takes like this musical movie format because it's a love story. It starts off with music, and it starts off with Bradley Cooper being this huge star, and Lady Gaga, who plays Allie, is just another normie working a tough job in the restaurant business, and they meet at this bar where she's singing, and fire. But he hears her singing, and he knows how good she is. And it's kind of funny because it is sort of one of those sort of classic, I don't know if it's cliche, but it happens where a famous person or someone with a lot of experience in the industry finds some random person in the middle of nowhere and sees that they clearly have an aptitude and a talent and simply picks them up and basically makes a star out of them. This is what happened to Edward Furlong with Terminator 2. There was an exhaustive search for that kid, and it ended up being the casting director just finding him on a corner chilling out, and he kind of looked like the description of the character from the script, so that's how he became it. So in this case, it's a love story, but it's pretty awesome how he sees the talent in her, but he's also taken by her. She's She is incredibly beautiful. And both things happen at the same time, where he's both seeing in his head the future of this person, but at the same time falling for her. And she is just a very different kind of character when they're first courting and walking around and stuff. And the way, people come up and talk to him and just kind of expect a picture or want a picture, and she's very offended by that, as like, wow, you're not a person just walking around, it's okay to just treat you like that. And he's just totally like, whatever, it's cool. And as the story unfolds and you get more of this guy's story, because he's this heavy alcoholic, and it's a really, it's a sad story at the same time as it's a happy story, and it's just also just a genuine movie of one person's rise to stardom, while at the same time showing someone who is a star slowly declining in their career, and both kind of happening at the same time. And as you watch it, you kind of understand how these pieces kind of fall together, where it might appear one way from the outside, but on the inside you kind of see, oh, okay, there's a lot of like understandable shades to these people that are kind of, you can only see in these little private moments as they get together and eventually get married and all this stuff. uh, they just have this huge journey, and it's the journey of popular artists and popular artists in love. But it's cool. It it does have a sad ending, but also an epic and beautiful ending. What's great about the movie is that there is no line that sums it all up. I'm sure there probably is, but at no point can you just feel like, oh, the movie stopped to put the theme right here so I would get it. You know what I mean? Which is, you know, although certain famous directors of you know, without question, absolute talent, who made the Dark Knight trilogy, do that. But you know, when you're not Christopher Nolan and you do that, it oftentimes just comes off as, okay, thank you. Uh, there's a lot of TV. The minute everyone realized TV was where the good stuff at, I felt like TV all of a sudden got a big head, and we just got a lot of that all of a sudden. I was just like, ugh, that is just so tacky. But I like about that the movie is about being true to yourself at the end of the day, without spoiling too much. You know, she comes up with this beautiful song when they're first meet talking to each other, and it affects him immediately. And he goes off and does his artist thing, and then invites her to come on stage with him. And that's really where the star part of being born is happening. Or that's where the born, and that's really where the A Star Is Born part is leading up to, because the minute she sings on stage and it's her song, it's just this epic moment of yeah. But what she sings is something that she comes up with honestly and in the moment. And one thing throughout the movie he tries to keep impressing upon her is like that honesty. You know, whether people listen to you or not, what matters is that you step out there with that honesty, and you sing that. And it was a very down to earth message. Although I mean, yeah, it's stated, but it doesn't feel like it's being stated because he's saying it to her. And it's like a warning to her. With him having become the star, he's already seen and experienced a lot. But he also, as we learn out throughout the movie, he has his own really dark, messed up story. That, being a star did not solve his problems in his life, and in fact, only gave him more access to damage himself, unfortunately, because he had so much wealth and could just. In his case, the alcoholism. They kept it to alcoholism, which is fine. There's pills too, but they don't really get into it. They just primarily focused on the alcoholism, which is fine. I know I've had a teacher or two who was like, don't use alcoholism. Everyone does it. But in this case, I think it fits both the character and everything like that. But he has a reason for being an alcoholic. There's a history to that that's revealed throughout the movie, and that kind of stuff is good. You know, that's what makes it a really juicy movie. And Allie, Lady Gaga, her character also has a lot going on with her past, with a father who loves her and dotes on her and supports her and believes she's the best. And he himself has like this really big ego trip about a compliment he was given by someone famous a long time ago. He never pursued his dream, but or it sounds like he never pursued it. It's unclear whether or not he pursued it, or if he's just a successful businessman. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. But, you know, throughout the movie, he is just obsessed with repeating this quote that this person said to him that he just can't believe he heard. And so the movie is filled with great little stuff like that. We have a great story, but it's got these nice, great little characters that they feel real. Everything just feels like people you would meet in these given situations, and what would create the kind of person that you're seeing feels justified and real. It just feels like an honest story you hear someone tell at a bar while you're drinking too. And so when we get to that sad ending, it really hits, because you know, the whole beginning of the movie is about sort of breaking the illusion of the star. It's just this star that you idolize is just a person. And when they're and even though they're doing something amazing and fun, it's also their work. And after work, they like to go to the bar, or like to go to a nice show, just like to relax and be with their family, and just, you know what I mean? It's just for breaking that illusion of whatever you think a star is supposed to be, because you see them in the movies. And I, without question, have a huge problem with being starstruck. You know, maybe I went to Walker Stalker Con, and there's these actors there who I was just so starstruck I couldn't really talk to them, and I feel bad for being so awkward. But in this case, this guy has all these very aggressive fans, and one of the best scenes in the movie is also in the trailer, where a guy comes up at the bar while Allie and Bradley Cooper are talking, and he's just like, "You gotta take my picture with me, man, so I could show my ex, man." And then Allie, Lady Gaga, just goes up and pops him in the face, and it's just like, and she has a whole point of being upset with how people don't even talk to him like a person. And although she is starstruck when she meets him, she still just tries to talk to him like a person, and not even get caught up in the, oh, this is my favorite song or whatever, you know. It's cool. So both of them kind of have this subtextual level of valuing authenticity, valuing whatever it is that you are is who you should be trying to be. And as she rises through stardom, that value is tested. You know what I mean? But Bradley Cooper, on his own end, has a level of appreciating that value as well, which Sam Elliott, who's in this movie, plays Bradley Cooper's brother. And their conflict is all about the alcoholism and professionalism, because Bradley Cooper's character is clearly late to everything. And although he's without question epic, and like the guitar playing, I wonder, is that actually Bradley Cooper? I gotta know, because I believe the singing is him. So, you know, it sounds awesome. It really, if that's him, then damn, dude. I expect Lady Gaga to be good at singing, but I didn't know anything about you in music, so that, like, damn, dude. Okay. You casted the part very well, Mr. Cooper. Very well. Good job. Good job. Keep up. But yeah, so the music was fantastic, but I just love that these stories, you know, have these characters that feel complete and feel full, and each conflict they have feels like, again, it feels like a person that you're kind of running into while you're working, and you're just kind of seeing this person's drama as you pass by. You know what I mean? Or in real life, you know. Well, for me, I try to avoid these situations. I have been in my fair share of drama and situations, but, you know, because it's these stars, it does feel like, wow, you know, you hear about this maybe in the news or a rumor, this thing's happening, but it's like when you're there, it actually just feels like another person that you know, and it's so just real and raw. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there was a Mandalorian cereal.
You can have it hot or you can have it cold, but you know you better have it cold because you have to have cereal with milk, you freak. I know you bought this at grocery outlet for 99 cents again. I know that's what you do, TheSalawag. This is not a mistake. You did this to yourself. You thought, I'll just have these fake tricks for 99 cents. It's not tricks, but it tastes like tricks because it's clearly tricks with no shapes. Just like how tricks already looks. Give me my shapes back, you trickin' bastards.
Boom, boom. Now I'm getting nerdy here. Now's the boring shit. So I really like a lot of Bradley Cooper's directing choices in this movie, like the way things are shot, um, the way Lady Gaga is shot is very traditional. When we meet her, it's a close up on her phone talking to a boyfriend who is about to be an ex, and her words are literally, "Fuck no, I'm not gonna marry you." And then she pockets her phone and she steps out in the bathroom and just screams. Like, you just see this woman is just someone who's just dealing with a lot of dramatic situations and unnecessary drama, and you feel a lot about what's going on with her, that she's kind of a real person who just is putting up with the everyday life. She's shot in a very kind of traditional way. She is the main character. We are seeing the story for the most part through her eyes. But the way Bradley Cooper is shot, especially in the first half of the movie where where he is a star, his decline hasn't occurred. In that we get a lot of following shots where we're just kind of following behind him, and it's almost video game like, but it's also, it feels kind of documentary like as well. There's a great scene, the introduction of Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott's walking down the whole length of this auditorium, and he goes up to the stage, and the camera's following him, and Bradley Cooper's up on the stage playing guitar, and they're having a little conflict where Sam Elliott's trying to give him a little hearing aid. That's something that's supposed to help him with his ear, and he immediately says, "Why don't you try taking a little pride in your work?" And Bradley Cooper just kind of ignores it, and this dynamic, you realize, is kind of a constant thing that everyone is just kind of used to. But we don't focus on anybody else really. What's amazing is that it feels like this documentary camera shot where we're following Sam Elliott, and the camera kind of comes around to see Bradley Cooper. And although there's a cut and we're seeing the opposite side where we just see Bradley Cooper, it's really great when the camera comes back around and we actually see Sam Elliott's face, because when we first see him, we're following from behind. And just the sheer, first the apprehension of, is that Sam Elliott? That sounds like Sam Elliott. And it comes around and, oh yeah, it's Sam Elliott. But the fact that this is our introduction to him, and you just kind of see in his face, he's just done with this situation. And Bradley Cooper is done with it in a different way. He's just done arguing, but he's a stubborn mule, and he's not going to change for anything. And that's where these two characters are at. The older brother knows this kid's got to change. He's got to step up and do things right. Bradley Cooper's like, nope. And in a crazy way, there is these, we're going to get into mini spoilers here, when Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper hook up. Sam Elliott, upon meeting Lady Gaga for the first time, says, "Hey, I do gotta say, I haven't seen him play like that in a long time," and referring to seeing the both of them on stage. And it is like, that's our introduction to seeing Bradley Cooper sing. I mean, we see, I do believe we see him play a little bit before that, but it's not very long. But in this moment, he's full of passion, he's full of spirit, he's going for it. And then all of a sudden, when things get sour, you actually do see his kind of lack of passion, and he just becomes a sap on stage when he literally gets relegated to being the side guitarist at one point when his career is going downhill. And on stage, he there's a part where he's just sort of supposed to play a quick little intro riff, a really brief little snippet that sets up the song, and he drags it just a little too long. And the singers, who just have bland, generic voices and no passion whatsoever, it might as well be, your you know, your little birthday cousins singing or something. After what you see earlier with Shallow, here we are on the stage and Bradley Cooper's in the back, like, I'm second fiddle to this. Dirty looks. The fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, and then he gets into the song. But it's like that little defiance, but even in that moment is indicative of his character. The strength of the movie is how solid the character writing is, where from the start, when he's first talking to Lady Gaga, he's like, stay authentic, stay playing what you are. And you realize that what makes Bradley Cooper this star is him singing his heart out. And a lot of his songs are actually, I'm not really paying attention to the lyrics, because I'm just enjoying what I'm hearing. Shallow only because I've heard it so many times. It takes me a while for the words to really sink in. I don't know, I just kind of have that problem. I hear the tune, but the words themselves, it's like they all kind of go in, and I don't fully hear it until I've heard it a few times. And in that case, there is a song that's played 3 times, and I realize the one lyric I do always distinctly hear from it is leaving me by the wayside. And so he's just kind of, the one thing his hit song keeps communicating is, at the very least, the words you hear is this intense feeling of being left behind. And so to talk more about that, I'm going to have to go to spoiler mode. But I just really just thought, wow, that speaks a lot to his problems. This intense feeling of being left behind. Even though he's this big star, he's referring to something that is not being explained. Something powerful I enjoy about Linkin Park's music is that, I grew up in middle school and I hear the songs and it's badass and there's an emotion behind it, and that there's a story being told with the words. But the words, until the lead singer's untimely death, until then, and then all the stories come out about things that happened to him as a child, and you realize, damn, it really puts a new spin on all those lyrics. Now when I hear those lyrics, I imagine that background, and I'm like, it completely fits. It completely makes sense now what those songs were about. Because each one, even if they felt like they were dealing with the same thing, kind of felt like they were also dealing with a slightly different thing, maybe a different aspect of similar whatever issues he was dealing with. But man, all of a sudden the lyrics have a context, and that subtext rises up to the top. It's just like, damn, yeah, yes, one more light. But so then, again, by the 3rd time I'd heard leaving me by the wayside, it occurred to me, damn. Because by the 3rd time, you also get his pieces of backstory. So it all kind of creates a straight line toward why he acts this way. Although it is very sad and disturbing to watch already at first, as if, oh, well, he's just a guy who just can't control his drink. No. I mean, a lot of guys can't. But in this case, there's a reason why he can't. And it's all this similar to Lincoln Park. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name, Chester. Chester! I'm sorry, I forgot your name, Chester. I suck. It's true. See? Most podcasters don't admit to being lame. This one does. So, yeah, shit. So once we get all that backstory filled in, that lyric now makes all the sense. So now I gotta get into spoilers. I'm gonna get a little spoilery. This podcast is gonna extend a little bit further for spoilers. But I just, yeah. So love the movie. Really great stuff. I'm spoiling the shit out of it now.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there was the Mandalorian cereal. You can have it hot, or you can have it cold. Or you can have it with Rosario Dawson if she's free for a breakfast brunch meeting. But really, you know you won't do that. Because you're just a sad nerd who bought this hoping to have a background for your toys. But you live with your mother and she threw away the box. The Mandalorian cereal. You must have it if you're a nerd. Mandalorian cereal not available anywhere anymore.
Boom, boom. There's this revelation that Sam Elliott says this thing to Bradley Cooper earlier in the movie where he says, "You stole my voice." And that doesn't make any sense at first, but later on in the movie it's revealed, when Bradley Cooper was a kid, he was left alone at home with his drunk father, who was his best friend and also started him on drinking since he was 13 years old, at least, maybe younger. But it's very clear from Sam Elliott that the dad was not a good guy, even though Bradley Cooper worships him. So there's still an untold story going on about what Sam Elliott really meant. And it's obviously more than the drinking. Something else was wrong. But it's also revealed Sam Elliott was gone because he was trying to start his career. And for one reason or another, it's apparent that Sam Elliott's career did not happen and Bradley Cooper's career did. And so leaving by the wayside kind of applies to both characters in a messed up kind of way, where it was the younger brother that got the success and the older brother just became the hand that helped him. And on top of that, there's another conflict of the death of the father seems to be blamed on Sam Elliott, but Sam Elliott says in response, well, how could I take care of Dad when I'm cradling you, taking care of you every night to get you on stage? And you understand, man, the older brother at least in some kind of way, the older brother sacrificed his career for the success of his younger brother and even the health of their parent, who Sam Elliott still hates and really doesn't feel much regret for not being there for. So that says a lot about what's going on with these two people, that Sam Elliott wanted to get away from the dad so bad that he left his brother and took his guitar with him. And Sam Elliott and Bradley Cooper has always felt left alone. And that it's also revealed. So remember, we're in spoilers now. So if you don't want me to spoil the end of the movie, you haven't seen it, may show 'em. Spoiler. It's revealed that when he was 13 years old, he tried to kill himself by hanging himself, but failed. And he tried to hang himself off of the, off of the ceiling fan, but the ceiling fan broke. And the dad never even noticed because he was in a drunken stupor the whole time. That the fan sat on the floor for 6 months, presumably 6 months before the dad even noticed that the fan was broken. So that goes to say something. The fan then is a metaphor. Now the fan is a metaphor. The fan's broken. Something's wrong with Bradley Cooper. But nobody noticed for 6 straight months. And that much time to feel alone with an agony, that is heavy. That's heavy, Doc. That's heavy, Doc. Why? Is there something wrong with the atmosphere? Or the Earth's gravitational pull? No. No. Something started Bradley Cooper's alcoholism, and it apparently was abuse and neglect. Fuck. Be good to your kids. Please be good to your kids. Shit. So that is so messed up. But so, again, falling by the wayside. Now, the other level of that goes to Lady Gaga's rise. As she's rising, one of the first conversations Bradley Cooper has with her is, I love your nose, I love your hair. He loves everything about her. She's an authentic person. And he wants to see that every day. I mean, this is the way, I think, there's a saying that women look for men they can change, and men look for women they want to stay the same. I read it. I think it was a meme a long time ago. I don't know if it's a real saying, but that's kind of exactly what was happening here. And I get it. It's just a yes. that is the thinking. He saw this amazing woman and liked her exactly how she was, and just wanted her forever, and he knew it right away. And then when she became a star, after becoming a star, what his words were, stay authentic, stay you, was also a warning. Don't go down the popular path, for all the handshakes and the photos, you know what I mean? And that's totally what she did. She becomes another Britney Spears type, and she's singing generic songs. And he even challenges her on it once, and says, he says, when I see that ass, and she's like, what? And he's like, that's the thing you say, you're singing in your song. And, the fact that she doesn't even realize that's what she's saying goes a lot to show you about her character. That she's gone down the false path. And that's beautiful writing, too. Because she was just a naturally authentic person. But she clearly kind of always wanted this, even though she doesn't want it. But it's kind of that thing where you don't really know what you want. Because what I think is interesting, my sister is in her own band with her boyfriend, my nerd brother. And they're epic, but it took them years to start out as just practicing, and to develop songs, and to develop a sound. It's like the first 3 years of their music was almost, even though it was good, there was nothing wrong with it, but it was, compared to where they are now, 5 or 6 years later, like, that first 3 years was like this gestation period where it's just like feeling things out and really coming up with a set of songs and lyrics and a concept and idea. And then this last 2 to 3 years, it's just been like this, like the cement has settled, and there's clear lines for what they're trying to do, and to come to that sense of what you want to be and what to sound like takes so much time. And here this girl is, she barely has come up with a handful of songs. She hasn't really fully started or defined herself yet. She's only able to get shows at a drag queen bar on Friday nights. And, it's just because she's got the thing, but she hasn't developed it yet. And you can tell, again, with her conflicts with her dad, is that she's not committing to it. She's got the stuff, but she's like, hanging out, trying to be the best, restaurant employee she can possibly be for a job she hates. And what a waste. And something he keeps saying, stop wasting yourself. And it is that kind of defiant youth. When you're young, you think you know what you want to do and what you have to do and what reality is, and you're just so certain about all these things. And all these people who are, whether they're men or women, when they're older than you and they're sitting there telling you what you got to do, you don't know what I got to do. I know me. You don't know me. And then, of course, she changes her hair and she puts on the glitter that is just around the boobs and the vagina. Clearly, Her manager, who after her first performance is like, you got something more than all this. But the fact that he does this movement tells you that that's the only thing he's thinking about. So that falseness, like he says the words that gets the response he wants. That's psychotic behavior. He says the words that gets the responses he wants, but he does not mean what he's saying because he wants her to be the next Christina Aguilera, and that is the enemy right there. In reality, that guy is the real antagonist. She would have been great as like a second half to Bradley Cooper. Them two together, and that I think probably was his hope. I think that's what he was hoping for because she reads him as jealous right away, but he doesn't really tell her what he's thinking because he's already said it. Be yourself. Don't be this inauthentic thing. And even though it seems like he knows who this guy is, it also seems like he doesn't know enough to say anything, or he doesn't want to prevent her from going where she wants to go. It's kind of a two-handed situation. He knows he's probably just another slime ball, but he also knows, well, he can actually deliver on what he's saying. And there's that conflict. I don't want to hold my loved one back from something they want. So he can only kind of grit his teeth and say these little things to her of like, that ass, like, why are you shaking that ass? It's like, why are you singing this weird crap that has nothing to do with you? And then ironically, she gets a Grammy, but it's probably because she's making sales, and this producer guy just is who knows what. All of that is off screen, and who cares? Because that's not really what it's about. It's about her journey away from being authentic and needing to come back to it. So, in many ways, even though a star was born in that first Shallow performance, she's not truly the star that she's meant to be, that Bradley Cooper saw in his head, until after the ending, where, mega spoilers now, no going back, after the ending where Bradley Cooper commits suicide. At the ending, she becomes herself again. She wears a costume similar to she wears a dress similar to what she was wearing in the beginning when she's performing in front of Bradley Cooper at the tranny bar. And damn, she's got rid of that stupid hair color that she has for the majority of this movie. And she's herself. And she sings a song that he wrote for her. So the movie has this beautiful full circle. The song Shallow is something she came up with just within 5 minutes of knowing this guy and realizing what type of guy he is. And I just thought, shit, like, that's pretty good to be able to be that quick. But also, she was just feeling an authentic moment and expressed herself. And that's what he realized. Like, you felt this authentic moment and expressed yourself, and my heart pinged back exactly what you were saying. Like, you read me. And that is also the message of what great music is, what great art is that you express yourself the best that you can. And if you're lucky, your feelings reverberate to somebody else who also shared that feeling but couldn't express it themselves. That is what art is for. The business part helps the art get out there and helps make people money and pay their bills and eat. But the purpose of the art is to awaken the feeling you already have within you. And ideally, it shouldn't anger you, it should relieve you. It should give you a new sense of resolve. In many ways, what I feel the difference between propaganda and art, even if they use all the same exact tools, all the same exact methods, the difference between propaganda and art. Propaganda is designed to anger you and to infuriate you and to instigate you into a specific action. Art is there to make you realize who you are, or at least get you going down the path. to your true authenticity and help you bring that to the world, because that is the part that's going to help the world and yourself, whatever that truly is. um, so I think that's, and I think that, and much like that's what the popular art is. It's of course going to sell because it's for 13-year-old horny boys who want to look at pictures of glittering boobs. You know what I mean? Like, they still need the boobs to glitter because they're 13 years old. But that's why it's going to sell. And of course, young girls who just want someone to look up to and aren't even thinking about what they're seeing either. They're just like, oh, fun poppy song. Everyone likes them. Cool. Uh, you know, yeah, it's just that instigates an immediate, simplistic reaction with numbers you can guarantee every single time. But real art is challenging and it may not hit people. You know, it may totally miss. Like Bradley Cooper says in the song, you know, people may stop listening to you, but what matters is that you said what you felt when you felt it. And that is just truth right there. That is just truth. That's definitely a journey I'm on with myself. I got my own problems, that's for sure. But I don't know. I just felt like watching this movie all of a sudden. And it was just, for whatever reason, hitting me where I was feeling at the moment. And I really felt for the journey of Bradley Cooper's character. And I feel like it was like I was vibing with this dude. I'm like, you know, bro, like, I feel like, nah, this is like, because I've had buddies who are kind of like on the downward spiral path, just like Bradley Cooper, and, you know, they tell me about their problems and all this stuff, and I'm just like, and man, some of the things that they've been through are horrible, and some of the things they either are guilty for or just blame themselves for that were things that were out of their control. It's crazy. For me, on the outside, I feel like I see this obvious line, but for him on the inside, all these things, or them, because it's more than one friend, all these things create all these tumultuous issues within them that keep teetering them from psychosis to madness, and they're just trying to hold on, and that's everybody, really. You know, I think yeah, everybody has some kind of weirdness about them or some difficulty. But damn, I just really felt Bradley Cooper's character personally. And Lady Gaga is like so many girls I've met, and even in certain qualities, like family. I mean, really, she felt like a sister. Like, I felt like these were two like family members or buddies that I knew. You know what I mean? Just people that I not necessarily that I spent huge amounts of time with, but that I crossed paths with, and I just kind of heard a little bit of their story, and they were going their way, and I was going my way, and I'm like, oh shit, you guys got a lot going on, bro. You know, I just really felt, because a lot of like what Bradley Cooper says to Lady Gaga about being authentic, I definitely felt that with my little sister at times. Where I'm just like, you know, don't worry about this nonsense over here. You know, you focus and you do the thing that you want to do. You know, I definitely, it was kind of funny. At one point, I was definitely supposed to be a rising star, and through my own fumbling and just terrible at being human, my own fumbling issues, I just totally dropped the ball on amazing opportunities. But up until that point, it was all just this buildup. It was just like this boiling buildup, like just obvious. This kid is meant to go somewhere, and I think my sister felt like, was she about to be left behind? Is she not good enough because everyone's expecting something out of me? And I would just, and because I also knew what I wanted. At the time she was feeling these things, she didn't know for sure that she wanted music. She was in that funky place in her life where she knew she had certain aptitudes, she just wasn't sure which way she wanted to go. And I remember distinctly my advice to her was like, It's okay that you don't know what you want to do. You're because of that, you're free. You're free to just try different things and see what works for you. Try being an illustrator. Try being this. Try being that. Or try none of it at all. Just work until you find out what you want to do. Yes, it helps that I know what I want to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out or work out forever. All it means is that I'm chained to this now, and I'm not going to try this or that because I am just focused on this. But so, because of that, enjoy your freedom. I would like to be free, but I found this. So, in many ways, it's kind of like, you know, and with my mind, I'm just like a fucking drone. I just fucking channel out life, and I just become a little robot artist guy. But I digest. I related to these characters a lot. So, we'll see if I keep that in. So, with that being said, I just on the whole really felt for this movie. I really, really related to the characters. I think the movie is as authentic as it can possibly be about the things that it talks about. I mean, I can't speak from the experience of knowing what music artists go through, even though my sister has a band. But I can just speak from the experience of watching the stuff and just meeting and knowing people. And I'm like, man, this feels like a story about people that I know. Not necessarily about stars. It's just this feels like a story about people I know. I think that's a great quality. I think the only thing I can compare this experience to, because it was so honest and visceral, I saw mid 90s, directed by Jonah Hill, another directorial debut. I did do an Instagram post. You can probably find it with hashtag TheSalawag clip of the week. But I did not make a video. I wasn't doing videos necessarily at that time. But that movie was great. It's about this young kid who's poor, and his mom, we find out, is a prostitute. But he and his brother live with his mom, and his brother is just quiet and odd, and he himself goes out and just finds these weird, wacky street kids as friends, and they get into all these kind of, shenanigans, and you're just kind of seeing all these characters dealing with their different issues, and they're all just street kids because each one of them has a different situation in their life that allows them to just run out and do whatever they want. But it kind of ends up just being the right kind of street kids. They're all good kids. They just hang out on the street, and they walk around and play on their skateboards and whatever. But it's that movie has, although a lot of the story is completely subtextual, and it's not a lot of intense things happening, there are a few big moments, but all in all, it's a very, how do I describe it? Not mundane, but it's very day to day. There's such a honest day to day quality about the movie, and Jonah Hill directing, fantastic performances. But that movie was just about what felt like real people. It almost felt like a documentary. So I would definitely recommend mid 90s. But I think that's the only thing I could compare. That's the only thing I could compare A Star Is Born to, as far as having that visceral, honest, indie movie kind of quality, or even the filmmaking choices, the directorial camera choices, the film language choices, all of that really kind of comes together to feel like an authentic experience where you feel like you're going around with these people, almost like a VH1 inside VH1. What if you were the camera crew and you're just hanging out with these guys, and it turned out they let you have a beer too? That's kind of the feeling of the movie. So yeah, that being said, A Star Is Born was fantastic. Really great time. Totally worth the hype. That's the nerdy thoughts I got out of it. That's just from watching it. I haven't purchased. Now I'm going to have to buy the movie. Watch the bonus features, and then repeat myself, I guess, at some point. So, fantastic movie. That's all I got to say. I know many of you were bored to death. For those of you who didn't die from boredom, congratulations. You had a great nap. I hope you had a good dream while you were napping. And thank you for watching. Remember, don't like, don't subscribe, and don't comment. Take it easy. Aloha. Aloha. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing no more podcasts no more. No more. No more.